This video is about my visit to Towne Landing, which was the first permanent British settlement in South Carolina. The first thing I did when I arrived at Towne Landing was to go to the museum. This museum is quite impressive. They have the full history of Towne Landing, including who were the settlers, why did they come here, how long did they stay, and all kinds of great information in between. So I'm going to do a real quick walkthrough of the museum so you have an idea what to expect when you come here. When we left the museum and went outside, we found a sign that said, "Beware of the alligators and don't feed them." Then we headed to the Towne Landing Animal Forest, which is like a small zoo. In here we found a wide variety of animals, including the bear, bison, and some turkeys. Here we can see the bear coming up to greet us. They don't like my version. Then when we went to the historical section of the state park, we found a docent named Linda, and she gave us a ride on an electric cart and gave us a lot of great information about the historic site.
Over in the Quonset hut here, there is the remnants of one of the first plantations after Charleston moved to, Charlestown Landing moved to Charleston. It was built in 1690, and it has tabby walls and tabby floors. And usually they had to cover it back up after their season of excavation to protect it from the weather and also vandals. So about 3 years ago, they cleared off all this area again and put up the Quonset hut. So that's kind of a neat story. The brown building over off of the center there, if you look down under plexiglass, about 4 feet, you can see the original stockade holes from the wall. And the size of the colonist buildings when they came were this one and the silhouette of the other one. They didn't have a fireplace inside. They did all their cooking outside. They just stayed in there for inclement weather. So, but the stockade was necessary because there were warlike tribes of Indians, plus indigenous animals, and also pirates. This was, originally a British protectorate. It was mandated by King Charles that the Lord Proprietors settle this area, and in doing so, they were to send wooden products back to the islands that grew sugarcane and made rum. They had denuded those islands of wood products, so they needed the wood products from Charlestown Landing. Common house or community house is where they host single men. The redoubts here are definitely redone, but it's really interesting to know that in the late 1670s, Spain sent an armada up from St. Augustine to thwart the colonization. They didn't make it. There was a hurricane. So hurricanes sometimes can be good. This was the Waring House. It started out as an overseer's house and then was added to over the years. In fact, the Warings modernized it, and there are 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms up there. And when a bridal party comes to have a wedding here, the brides are able to change in the Waring House.
Here I'm just outside the palisade at Towne Landing. This is a recreation of the palisade that used to encircle the settlement. Well, let's go inside and see what's in there. I'm kind of having a bad day at the settlement here. They didn't like me filming too much, so I ended up in the stockade. Can someone give me a hand? I'd kind of like to keep doing this. Help! 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 Well, they finally let me out of the stocks, but I'm wondering, who complained about my filming in the first place? Who would do such a thing? Then I took a walk over to the common house. This is the one the tour guide told us about. So let's go inside and take a look around. Here it looks like they're building a new structure behind the common lodging. Should be interesting when it's finished. Here is the examples of reproduction cannons on platforms as a defensive position against any attack from the river. And if we look on the other side of this, we see that there is a ditch in front of these gun positions that added an extra layer of defense for the men guarding this fort. This is the ship the Adventure. This reproduction vessel was built in 2009 to represent the type of ship that traded from the colony here. Now this ship would have taken wood products from the colony and taken these products down to Barbados, where they would then load up with rum, sugar, and molasses and sail back to the colony. This ship would have had a crew of 6 to 8 sailors. Now, I really had a good time looking around the vessel, and it's well worth the time. This is a well-rigged ship that is capable of sailing on its own. I am walking between 2 rows of live oaks that were planted during World War II by German and Italian prisoners, and these parallel trees lead to the Waring House that we saw earlier in the tour. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our visit to Towne Landing Historical Site. See you later. Bye.